Who's in charge of the AI that becomes the superintelligence? Who's in charge of the superintelligence?
That's an interesting open question. I mean, how can we know now? Right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to predict things, especially when they are in the future. And so why should it be a who, like a human being? At the moment, we typically put a single human being at the top of a company or of a state. Mm-hmm. And I think that is for a particular reason.
Okay.
And it's not obvious, right? Why don't you have a team to run for president?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As if an individual would be able to achieve anything without having the right team, right?
Yeah.
If you have the wrong team, you're not going to achieve anything under any circumstances if it's complicated. And so the team really makes you or fails you. But why is that this individual? And I think it's because if you have a system that has very complex rules, we cannot really express this well as an algorithm. It's too brittle. It's too easy to get this wrong. And if you have a committee, if you have a group that makes the decisions, you basically need to come down to rules of compromise and so on. And the rules are not always the best solution, right? If you think every decision should be done by voting between a group of individuals that you select with a certain function, you will discover there are circumstances where this was not the best solution. This does not mean that there's an alternative, which is always the best solution. So the rules of what you need to do if you want to put the system in a particular direction, eventually they need to be implemented in a single mind, because a single mind is right now the most complicated information processing system that is completely integrated with itself, which makes sense of the world in particular way that we have. So in some sense, for instance, the German elections are about not just having party politics batting it out against each other, but by finding the best German, the most German of their generation. Mm-hmm. And the results are mixed a little bit, but most Germans think that it's largely successful. So in some sense, Angela Merkel is the most German of her generation, mm-hmm. from some particular perspective. And she embodies where this country should go. And she's the one that ultimately makes a lot of the decisions, not all the details, mm-hmm. not of mm-hmm. checks and balances and oversight and many boards and so on, but this main direction that you cannot express all in rules and codes of conduct and so on, they need to be implemented in a single individual in a sense. And when we give everything to an AI, the question is, do we do this right? Is this thing, or do we need to have a human envelope? And if we do this, are we going to increase the fallacy of this human being, like mm-hmm. we did in German fascism, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. We have a tightly controlled system that removes a lot of the redundancy, makes the system extremely powerful and effective. But if this guy at the top is insane, mm-hmm. horrible things happen. Mm-hmm. So this is the same danger with AI, of course. How can you make sure that you're not accidentally implementing something that you would think is insane? And what is sane, right?
Yes.
Is it not insane to wake up in a monkey? Mm-hmm. And it's not a nice monkey, it's a pretty vile monkey from the perspective of basically every other species, except maybe the parasitic species that parasitize on humans like dogs and cats and so on. We are pretty wild. Trees probably don't like us very much.